So if we look at things objectively in the cold light of day, we all know we should be eating better. We all know we should be sleeping more. We all know that we should take downtime from work. We all know that we shouldn't just go out and smash every time we jump on our bikes or go for a run or go swimming or whatever it is that we're doing. We all know that we should look after our bodies and hit the gym and lift weights and work on our mobility and our overall function. But we're not objective as humans. We don't look at that stuff and go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. That's going to make me better.
Welcome to Cycling Demystified, brought to you by Foundation Bike Fit and Frequency Cycle Works, the podcast where we help you take your cycling to the next level by sharing the knowledge from experienced bike fitters, mechanics, and the hidden players within the bike industry.
Welcome to Cycling Demystified. We are back for another episode with all three of us.
Am I loud enough? Yeah, why not?
That's Ev. With me, Way, and...
Oh, I guess I'm here as well, aren't I? Yeah.
What's your name?
My name's Matthew. Actually, it's not. Only my mum calls me Matthew. It's Matt with one T. There's a story there, but I won't bore you. Okay.
Yeah, I have to know the story because I'm like, every time I write your name, I'm like, oh, I got to hit delete.
I mean, it's pretty boring, pretty dull, pretty short.
All right. Can you make it a little bit more exciting?
So essentially there was 3 Matthews in my form at school.
Oh, right, okay, I've got it.
To differentiate between the 3 of us,
Yeah.
one remained a Matthew, one had 2 T's, and I dropped a T.
So when written down, they could tell you apart, but in the playground,
No idea.
2 of you were the same person.
Exactly.
Anyway, welcome back to Cycling Demystified. Today, we are going to talk about how to realise your athletic potential. Well, that sounds like a
Is
pretty
it just
big
athletic potential though?
Well, it's all
Does it apply to
connected,
it?
isn't
It applies to everything.
Health potential?
Yeah.
Health potential.
Wellness potential?
Well,
Athletic potential?
health is the prerequisite for athletic performance, so it's all connected.
Yeah, presumably you have to be fairly healthy to actually have some athletic.
Well, it's strange how quickly that gets forgotten sometimes.
Shoved under the rug.
Yeah.
I don't need health. Just smash.
Smash.
But anyway, before we go any further, this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about how to get the most out of your cycling endeavours or triathlon endeavours, with lots of events coming up like the Etap, the Marmot, Ironman, Transalp, all the rest of it. There's loads of events coming up. The summer's coming. It's kind of arrived in the UK, maybe for a week.
For now.
So everyone's getting excited. Everyone's picking up their new bikes in the studio, and everyone's been doing training, I'm sure. But we wanted to just talk about how to actually get the most out of all the effort that you've been putting in. Get the most out of the time that you are spending trying to achieve your cycling goals, your event goals, and what might be derailing you, or things that you might even have thought not have thought of, which could be preventing you from getting to where you could be going, why you want to be going there, and how do we get there. It's a pretty broad topic, I'd say, but I think it'll be pretty useful as everyone's ramping up to those events. And we have these kind of conversations on a daily basis with our athletes that come through the studio. So, yeah. And, of course, lots of the major Grand Tours and other kind of professional events occurring, which we tend to draw inspiration and... inspiration? Is that the right word?
That is the right word. That is absolutely the right word. That's really like... That's set off a buzzer in my head, because the word is inspiration, not emulation, right? So we all look at the pros, we look at Pogacar, we look at all these people doing Ironman, triathlons, time trials, road cycling, mountain biking, whatever. That's not who we are. We're not professional athletes. Most of us are not professional athletes. We don't do it day after day after day for a job. We don't have anything to prove to anyone. We're not trying to win anything necessarily. All the goals are our own. Well, your face. You know, the first thing you have to think about is, why am I doing this? What is in it for me? What am I getting out of it?
What are you running from?
What are you running from? That was where I was going with it. So, you know, that's it. Inspiration can come from anywhere.
So what we're saying is, before you even think about trying to realise your potential, you've got to know why.
Why? Yeah, think about why you're doing it.
Why do you want to try and realise?
Well, you hit the nail on the head.
Small nugget of potential that you might have or might not have.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. You know what? What are you running from? Are you doing this? Is this your hobby? Is this your escapism? Is it responsibility? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess, before you take on any endeavour, there should be a kind of question of why in the background. But
I don't think it should be in the background at all. I think that should be front and centre.
Well, it kind of changes, though. Like, often why you started something isn't the reason why you end up doing it.
Oh, yeah, it changes.
That's absolutely true.
It absolutely changes. But the why, whatever it starts as and morphs into, should be front and centre, in my humble opinion.
Well, yeah, because if your reasons are perhaps negative,
well, regardless of whether
emotionally,
regardless of whether they're positive or negative, the why and kind of the reason for doing something can influence the how you go about it.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of reasons do we get? And we get a lot of questionnaires that we get people to fill in with their goals and aspirations and their dreams. And that informs a lot of where we take our bike fits. And so
injury. Is that what is? Was that the loaded question?
That's not an aspiration.
No, but I'm
injury avoidance.
I'm thinking that you get a lot of people coming through the door saying, "Well, I used to run, and then I did my ankle in, and now I ride bikes."
Yeah,
basically just described me.
Well, more the like what we're looking for in our pre-fit questionnaires is often that reason. Like, you know, what's making you tick? What actually do you value? What's important to you as an individual? You know, what motivates you to get off your ass, get on the bike, get on your ass again, and
get off your ass and get back on your ass,
and pedal for many, many miles.
There's a podcast, right? There.
Well, ass to ass.
Am I going to have to tick the explicit language box when we upload this?
But yeah, like we have to understand how athletes tick before we can direct a certain pathway. Otherwise, it might be inappropriate. Or, you know, if we don't know where we're going, or we don't have a destination, then, you know, how do you know what road to take? What's the road map as well? You know, we all need a destination. And although that destination may change, then, you know, there still needs to be some kind of initial thought process in that. That might not be the reason why you enter an event initially. Like what actually spurs you to enter an event might be...
It's all about the journey, Way.
But at some point, you do need to figure out a destination. So like in our questionnaires, we'll often get people just saying, well, I just want to be the best that I can be. And it's always a little bit of a red flag because it's quite vague, an answer. And the more specific the answer can be, usually the better the outcomes. And although, you know, any answer is kind of valid, but it just kind of peaks an eyebrow towards, you know, where we would kind of start some conversation with an athlete and so on. And, I guess everyone wants to be the best that they can be in some way or form.
Yeah, but that has no context, does it?
Yeah.
And that's what we're kind of looking for as fitters when we're looking through the questionnaires, is context.
Yeah.
Is there, what does this mean to you, and what is the bigger picture surrounding embarking on this endeavour, whatever it is.
Yeah. Does that mean winning a gold medal at the Olympics, or does that mean just completing 20k around the park? Both are valid, but they're very, very different propositions.
What does it mean to keep fit? Why are you doing this? To keep fit. Right, so you're fit and you want to keep fit.
What's fit mean?
Well, exactly. Where's your level?
What are we talking?
Who knows?
1980s VHS, Jane Fonda? Or are we talking Ironman World Champs?
I'll take Jane Fonda any day of the week.
But it's all about context, isn't it?
Yeah. No, but so what
That's
I
what
meant,
we were just saying.
What I meant by that was you have keeping fit, and then you have competitiveness, right? Where you want to improve, consistent improvement.
So I would define that as fitness is baseline.
Yeah.
Of kind of health, like whether that's metabolic health, like bone health, muscle health,
mental
health, all the kinds of health, literally all the health,
all the buzzwords.
Yeah, all the buzzwords, name it here. But that to me, in my mind, is fitness.
Yeah,
and then you use fitness as a platform to then embark on a more specific goal. Got nods of approval. I like that.
Yeah. but do you don't necessarily need that goal if you're happy with where you are.
Absolutely not.
And all you want to do is continue with that level of fitness and not get injured.
But that can be the goal.
Okay, fine.
That can be the goal.
Fine, have it.
But this is why context is everything, right? Because if the goal is to just
continue as you are,
maintain fitness without injury. And for whatever reason that might be, for better, I don't know, whatever function, like you're trying
you want to kick a ball around with your kids in the park on a Sunday afternoon, and you want to keep doing that for the next 20 years.
Yeah, and this is why the context of the goal is super important in defining, or better defining, the direction you go to approach that goal, because it can mean the same thing can mean so many things to so many different people. So if you don't know, if you haven't got the why you're doing something front and center, then you're basically like the proverbial spaniel chasing his tail. Like you have no hope, or not no hope, but you have a much less chance of getting the outcome that you want from that goal if you don't have a kind of direction to it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, idea. And I guess this is maybe I'll relate it back to kind of professional sport, which I feel like has been changing in the way that a lot of athletes and coaches maybe approach sport in general, be that like cycling, triathlon, football, in the last decade or so.
I've got thoughts on this, but you go first.
Certainly from, back when I was a kid, performance meant kind of outcomes. It meant results. It meant gold medals. It meant coming first. And that was that was the pinnacle, and that's what it meant to be an athlete. You were striving for that kind of gold medal all the time, or that win, or that podium, whatever it was.
The outcome.
The outcome.
Yeah.
Whereas of late, maybe a healthier way to approach the endeavor of trying to win or become the best in the world is to focus more on the process, the kind of the way in which you structure your life and all the actions which you take to get towards that kind of goal as really the main emphasis. If you essentially put into place all the right kind of behaviors and actions that, say, a gold medal winning person would have to put into place to get there, then the likelihood of getting to that kind of gold medal is, much increased. There's there's no guarantees, but like if you put the value in that process, then you as a person will be much more fulfilled rather than just if you're only fulfilled by getting that win or the podium spot, then you're going to lead a much it's just going to be a much tougher life for you.
Yeah. And this is kind of at the professional level where outcomes are very important, but the approach maybe has changed from purely circa 2012 Team Sky marginal gains, win at all costs, to a more process-based approach.
Like British Cycling and Dave Brailsford introducing kind of marginal gains, and how that is a much more process-driven methodology. Gareth Southgate taking his English football team to new heady heights in the Euros last year.
Did he?
Yeah.
Euros this year. Euros is going on now.
Is now, but last Euros they did pretty well.
See, when you say Gareth Southgate, because I'm not really into football, that was the last time I actually watched football. What was that? 1996.
Well, when he missed the penalty.
The penalty against Germany. Yeah.
Yeah. But, see how far the guy's come. He picked himself up off the floor after, the failure.
I think the big fat paycheck from the FA picked him up off the floor.
You know what they say? Those who can do, those who can't coach.
But, coaches are employing process-driven methods rather than pure outcome-driven kind of methods, which are certainly seen more kind of toxic environments and things like that. So, athlete well-being is better considered maybe these days.
Yeah, with good reason.
Yeah. But when you start to, as soon as you get scientific about it, as soon as you start to get really objective, and you start to look at the minutiae, that's when, maybe people get way too caught up with the numbers and they stop paying attention to the athlete's actual mental well-being. You realise you're putting a lot of pressure on what are essentially children, pretty young people. So it does make me wonder if if Pogacar was around in the Team Sky days.
Well, I think I cited marginal gains, but I think marginal gains gets a little bit of I think it's being misconstrued a little bit, or kind of misinterpreted, in that everyone thinks, it's all about the 1%, kind of gains in your numbers and so on. But actually, it's much broader. I think the initial kind of idea was actually to look at an athlete's life as a whole, and to look at all the gains that you can make within your life that would actually contribute to a healthy athlete to get to an ultimate goal. Yeah. So not only do we look at, the 1% aero gains, how long do your socks need to be? Do you need to tuck your arm warmers underneath your sleeves or over your sleeves? That kind of stuff. But also, how well do they sleep? So, Team Sky had their own pillows.
So Eddie Merckx was one of the first professional riders to actually take a mattress with him on a grand tour. So between all the different hotels, this might be a might not be true. I might have just made it up. I'm pretty sure I saw a documentary where they would drive around with his mattress.
But I think the point is that this is nothing new.
No.
It's an age-old formula. Of the early 90s, Manchester United, Alex Ferguson employed a guy to come in and look at sleep. It was a sleep consultant. It's a guy called Nick Littlehales. He's written a book.
Is that when they banned them from having sex, the night before a match?
No, but they were basically. I don't know about that, but it's just they were starting to look at everything, and this is when they started winning. So it's like you were saying, where that concept of marginal gains isn't just the 1%ers, it's the global whole. And this is where you kind of look at kind of like the amateur athlete who has limited time to train. They have a job, they have a family, they have lots of other commitments. Cover off the first 99% first, like your sleep, your nutrition, your general health and well-being, like physical and mental.
Yeah.
And then you can start to look at the fun 1%ers. Because until you've got the first 99% sorted, you're not gonna reach your potential.
Was this where people make the mistake? Is they start looking for those marginal gains before they've even they're trying to run before they can crawl.
Exactly.
You haven't done the training. You're not sleeping properly.
Even before you've done the training.
You've even done the training.
If you're not sleeping enough.
Yeah. You're not sleeping enough. You're not eating right. You've got some other stress in your life.
It's the prerequisites of health. That's kind of like the baseline. Before we even think about Raj now. Before we even start thinking about performance, if you haven't got the prerequisites of basic human function dialed in, what are you doing? Like you can't even think about performance unless you've got that sorted. And that's kind of, I think, what we're getting at here, isn't it? So it's much more than, do I need a wax chain or oversized pulley wheels or whatever it might be. You kind of have to look at marginal gains and how it was intended and look at the global approach and realize that everything you do has an effect on your performance in whatever context that is, whether it's work, whether it's showing up at home, whether it's like athletic endeavors, whatever that is, everything affects everything else.
Yeah, and it's just kind of balancing all of that together so that you get ultimately the best potential or the best potential to perform as you want to. But I think one of the fundamentals that a lot of people struggle with is what we've been talking about, is like kind of why are you doing it? Like if you don't understand why really within yourself, why is this event important? Why am I putting all this time and effort into it? Why am I willing to sacrifice other fundamentals to, achieve this goal? So, a lot of people will, sacrifice other parts of their lives and their fundamentals for this particular kind of endeavor, which fills them with, whatever joy it is or achievement. And, like just understanding why you would be willing to do that is probably pretty important. And I do get it. Like sometimes you have to go on the journey to find out why. Like you don't know why until you're doing it or you've finished it. But still that that motivator has to be considered at some point. Like don't forget it.
Well, I think to put it more bluntly, effectively, you're talking about process approach versus outcome-based approach. It's same with motivation. Intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. What is the driving force behind you embarking on whatever this journey is? And whatever that reason is, and one, being aware of it, that's the first step. Is this like an intrinsically motivated endeavor? Is it process based? Do you do this for the joy of doing it, and the outcome is the icing on the cake? Or are you extrinsically motivated from external sources, and you're maybe doing this to prove a point or go on an ego trip, or
just comparing yourself
to others or whatever it might be? And sometimes you need to stand in front of the mirror, take a long, hard look at yourself and be honest. And because either or is fine. We're not here to judge. But having that understanding of truly why you're doing it can really help you get to where you want to be and kind of compartmentalize and almost be at peace with what it is that is motivating you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's what you were getting at the beginning of when you were talking about emulation versus
inspiration. Yeah.
So, if emulation is very much a ego-driven, outlook where you're looking at the pros and you want to be that. Like, even though, that is definitely that's not you. You're a different person.
And also that, well, you've underlined the word ego on the board there, and this is what it's all about. Sometimes people, just like you said, people have to admit to themselves, you're never going to reach a certain level.
But this is it. It's like,
you don't have to be good at everything.
And it's different for different people. It's like, if you are that extrinsically motivated person and outcome based, that's fine. Like, we're not saying it's not. Like, there's more than one way to get to a destination or an outcome. But I think realizing that can help you get to where you want to be by almost giving you a deeper level of self-awareness, so that as you embark on this endeavor, you make better decisions for yourself in order to achieve your ultimate goal.
And I think a lot of this comes through where we're at the season and the athletes that we're encountering at the moment, and some of the panic decisions that we're seeing through
necessity, basically, isn't it?
Why do people always leave things to the last minute?
That's just human nature, isn't it?
I mean, does it excite them?
No, I think there's something deeper than this. It's like, everyone's got so much stuff going on at the moment. Everyone's stretched so thin that you've got like 12 plates spinning on sticks and you're frantically trying to keep all the plates spinning. And it's not really until one's about to drop that it becomes apparent that it needs addressing.
Because
there's so much going on.
And if you look at spinning plates, when they're spinning quickly, doesn't look like there's any movement at all.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's literally
just literalizing your visualization there.
Yeah, but it's a kind of a, it's collateral damage of the modern world, basically. So we don't have time to think and plan and strategize and implement a plan, because everyone's just knee-jerking from one thing to the next, and it's not until something's about to crash that it warrants enough attention to do something about it.
The way I would put it is, we do have the time, but we are distracted, and we welcome distractions, particularly in 2024. Distractions are everywhere, and there's no getting away from it.
It's having the discipline to prioritize, isn't it? Yeah.
Discipline.
Yeah.
But we just had a chap come in, pick up his new bike. He's preparing for an Ironman, and
in 4 weeks.
And he was like, I've given up my social life. I'm just training, doing everything I can, and that's okay, because
fair play. You've sacrificed in the pursuit of an endeavor,
and it's not going to last forever.
Exactly.
It's a tiny fraction of your time, half a year or whatever.
Is it? This is going back to this process versus outcome-based approach again. If you're, you have this event on the horizon in, say, 6 months' time, and you have allocated 6 months of your life to train for this event, and it's like one and done, like bucket list event, tick the box, move on. Can you expect the outcome to be as good or get the most out of yourself in that circumstance as if you took, or compared to if you took a more process-based approach over a longer period of time to really learn your craft and learn the mistakes, learn from the mistakes even, and kind of work your way through it. So we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Of this process versus outcome-based approach, and what reasonable expectations are of meeting your potential relative to the time you have allocated or can allocate to a certain task. And this is sometimes where the reality and expectation doesn't meet, and the potential isn't fulfilled, and that's fine. But that's maybe where the expectation is misaligned with the amount of investment that is being able to be made.
It takes us back to the 2024.
Yeah, distractions.
Distractions, and everyone wants to, you order something from like Amazon or something, and it's like, I want it next day, or I want it like that afternoon or something like that. Everyone wants something as soon as possible. They don't want to wait, and they don't want to put the work in. They just want the result.
And this is gross generalizations, obviously, but this is like a societal problem rather than a
Western societal problem.
Western societal problem rather than a micro problem. We're not pointing at individuals. It's a Western societal macro kind of problem.
But you can see when like sporting events themselves have been commoditized and turned into this consumer-based commodity. If you
Gravel. Sorry.
but like
Gravel.
What's that?
like Iron Man, they it's a massive branding exercise, and it's been so successful that people want to get a tattoo of the logo on their bodies. It's like there's so much emotional connection to that event that people kind of lose a bit of their objectivity and go all in with that kind of emotional, kind of irrational response to it. And that's where what you were talking about, it's just an event. I want it it now.
Yeah.
I can have it.
I want to open my Christmas presents before Christmas morning.
Yeah, without actually realizing this is actually quite a hard thing to do. There is, even the fact that the entire Ironman business model relies on a certain percentage of entries to actually never turn up. Like they bank on it because they know that people will kind of drop out before they actually get to the start line. And that kind of irks me.
Well, what was interesting there, you mentioned like a word that was quite interesting is objectivity or being objective. And this is a massively important thing in realizing your potential, is the ability to have objectivity or to enlist the help of someone that can be objective on your behalf, i.e. a coach. So if we look at things objectively in the cold light of day, we all know we should be eating better. We all know we should be sleeping more. We all know that we should take downtime from work. We all know that we shouldn't just go out and smash every time we jump on our bikes or go for a run or go swimming or whatever it is that we're doing. We all know that we should look after our bodies and hit the gym and lift weights and work on our mobility and our overall function. But we're not objective as humans.
No.
We don't look at that stuff and go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. That's going to make me better. We just want to take the easy path, the fun path, the path that massages the ego. And this is not the path to achieve mastery. This is the path of sin and debauchery and poor performance. And that is not what we want.
Or, well, it's the path to one-time performance, isn't it? Like
a one-hit wonder.
One-hit wonder, yeah. And
but it goes back to that kind of, are you extrinsically motivated or intrinsically motivated? Yeah. Are you willing to make the good decisions today for a better tomorrow? That sounds like an American TV commercial, doesn't it? But you know what I mean? It's like, the decisions that you make now will influence what happens tomorrow. And having that objectivity either in yourself or in the help of friends, a coach, a family member, a long-suffering spouse.
Because you do need the inspiration, you do need the emotion to kind of take that first step.
Absolutely.
To go and do something.
But then the emotion needs to be tempered in order to reach the goal.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very much a blue personality type, but you need elements of both. You need to be excited and pumped in the first place to get up and go ride your bike before work or whatever it is that you need to do, go and lift or whatever. But you do need that objectivity in order to make good decisions to help you get the best out of yourself on a certain day or over a certain period of time or whatever that might be.
Is riding a bike too easy? Is that the problem? you know, all the other sports, running, lifting, climbing, any of these things,
I have
swimming,
thoughts on this.
you know, you can take it to a certain point, and then you know, the human body just like, okay, you can only go so far. On a bike, you can ride for miles and miles and miles.
Drown,
So
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So, but this is it, right? If you aren't swimming and you aren't running, you ain't moving.
Yeah.
You can still move if you're not pedaling.
Yes,
So
that's
the facetious and short answer to your question is yes. Bike riding is way too easy because it rewards mediocrity. You don't have to think so much about how you're doing the task in order to get the task done. True. All you need to think about is essentially stomping on the pedals and keeping your balance and not hitting anything else.
Unlike Gordon Ramsay.
He had a bit of a mare, didn't
Anyway.
he? But anyway, that's a story for another day. But the flip side is bike riding too easy? Bike riding is ridiculously hard, depending on how you view it.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. There's so much to think about, and there's so high demand on your body to do the kind of the act of riding a bicycle well. And I think once you view bike riding as a practice and a skill that is to be mastered, knowing that you will never achieve mastery, that's when you can really start to improve. And I think, yeah, in answer to your question, bike riding is too easy on the top level. If you start to peel back the layers of the onion, bike riding is ridiculously hard. And it's not until you get past that first layer and realize, oh, this is difficult, that you actually start to get somewhere with it.
Is that just something that comes with experience or kind of athletic maturity?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
If you don't know your body and you don't understand how much work you're doing at any given time, you don't.
But not even that.
No
if you
reference.
haven't had the objectivity of either yourself or someone else telling you that, you know, there is, you know, you're losing efficiency here.
Yeah.
This is why you're in pain. This is like, you know, this is kind of holding you back here in this area. This is what you need to work on off the bike to improve in this area over there. Without that objectivity, we can all ride bikes, right? In terms of the definition of staying upright while in motion on a bicycle. But can you ride a bike? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
I
exactly.
look at there's this one clip on YouTube that I watch over and over again.
Is it triathletes?
It's not, no. It's not triathletes crash. It's Vincenzo Nibali on that descent in Lombardia.
right, yeah.
Lombardia.
That's riding bikes.
Yeah.
That is someone who is very close to mastery, even when he nearly hit the wall.
Yeah.
But that's the difference, isn't it? You know.
Well, that goes, so it goes back to my point about riding a bike being easy. In like anything, like playing a piano, can you like a musical instrument, right?
Yeah.
If you sit down at a piano and you press a key,
press it, it'll make
doesn't.
a noise.
It'll make the noise. It'll make the right noise.
You're not Ashkenazi, are you?
Right. But you know, give somebody a trumpet or a flute
Yeah,
or a trombone
constipated duck.
or a tuba, right? So the initial action of riding a bike is like walking. You just get on, you just pedal and you go, right? Maybe it's not that
If you
much
can ride a
walking.
bike,
If you can
yeah.
ride a bike. Once you get the basics down, right? But there are a lot of people out there, again, I'll go back to this saying, which is they're trying to run before they can crawl. You've got people who are training hard, putting a lot of effort in, but
no
their
thought.
ability
No
to ride
thought.
the bike, like they don't know how to change gear, they don't know how to slow down, they don't know how to use their brakes properly, they don't understand the basic, like the very, very basic mechanics of the bicycle.
The bicycle,
To
yeah.
know that, that sound isn't right, I shouldn't be pushing on the pedals
Do you
when
know
it's
what this
making
is?
that noise.
Pedaling consciously. And this is what we must do.
But this is also like just experience, like time spent, and I think that's the issue that we come up against with
Can't
people.
rush it.
Can I add
everyone
experience, but also paying attention?
Yeah.
You know, basically just actually observing and taking it in and understanding, like, you know, why is it doing that? Like, what happens when you get on the bike and
Let's let the man talk.
Yeah.
We've ranted.
Yeah.
Let's let the voice of reason talk.
Well, that's why it's so frustrating when you get someone who just has a one-time goal. It's like, I'm just going to do this one event. I just want to get through it. And, it just doesn't feel that rewarding because you will never master it. Like, you're just experiencing, you're just consuming that kind of one event, you're ticking the box and so on. And I guess that you're like, maybe experience and mastery is just something that can't really happen until you've gone through an event or several events. Yes.
Permission to speak, sir.
Flip her up.
So, we talk about this like experience and this like pursuit of mastery, and kind of how there's a disconnect between cycling and kind of viewing cycling as a skill. Why is it then when you go to your first yoga class that it's the opposite mindset? You don't go to yoga to complete it, do you? Like, you view it as a practice and something to constantly improve over. Where's the disconnect between the the mindset of a cyclist and something else, which is kind of more viewed as a practice?
I think some of it comes back to what Ev was saying about distractions. We've got like power meters and aero this and lactate this and threshold that, and everything points towards something that you can just buy or consume or do that will just get you this thing.
There's an object in the way.
Yeah.
That's probably
and there's so many of those things, and the bike itself is an object rather than
This one simple trick.
a tool to getting there. But everyone's different. But I think that what we're trying to get to is just thinking about your practice, like being conscious of it, being cognizant, like having a little bit of time to look within yourself, and maybe you'll find something a bit more than you were expecting.
So in terms of practical takeaways, that's the main thing really, isn't it? Is be objective, practice self-awareness.
Have some humility.
Think about the why, the intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, the process versus the outcome, and just kind of be at peace with why you're trying to do something, whatever the reason might be.
Yeah. And I think that comes back to like a lot of people who come in here as well, especially recently, where events are very close and they're just trying everything they possibly can do to just make it all happen. And obviously bike fitting is important and it helps people get into the right positions and so on. But they're afraid that, it's too little, too late. And it's that kind of short-sightedness of like, everything rests on this event that I'm about to do. And if I can't complete it, I can't do it, then everything is lost. Whereas if you take that kind of longer term of like, well, everything that I do is part of the process of making me a better cyclist or triathlete or athlete, then, your next event is just another step along that kind of road. And so, everything that you can learn along the way is valuable. And so you become a better person as you go through that kind of journey. Worth just taking a step back and, again, just considering everything in your life that adds to you as an athlete, as a person, as a family member, as a work colleague, whatever it is.
Regardless of the outcome, the process is never wasted.
Yeah. Think about what's really valuable.
Bosh.
Oh, that was a little bit more metaphysical. Is it metaphysical? I don't know. That's not the right word for it. But yeah. Hopefully that was useful.
If you have any questions, get in touch so we can make up answers.
Yeah.
Normal service will resume next week.
What are we going to talk about next week?
Don't know yet.
We'll come up with something.
Power meters.
Yeah, we'll rant about power. We'll rant about power meters.
We have a
next
lot
week.
to say.
Normal service.
Ta-da!
Bye.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell all your friends about me. At Cycling Demystified on Instagram. Tell everyone. And leave us a review on your podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, whatever. That would help us out a lot. Suffering from numb hands, tingling toes, and any other persistent discomforts when you ride? These are all signs that your bike fit could be improved. If you're bike fit curious, get in touch with Wei or Matt by emailing info@foundation.fit or finding them on Instagram @FDN_bikefit. Finally, for all your bike servicing needs, custom dream bike or hand-built wheels, go to www.frequencycycleworks.com or find me on Instagram @frequencycycleworks. Until next time.